Hey, good day, 'cause it's not morning or evening. I'm gonna show you guys how to set up a trout lure, leader, line, everything. Not necessarily show you because my stuff's in the garage and I'm just making a quick video. The tips that I've learned and tricks is that number one, trout, they're very leader shy. So if you're connecting your like crankbait or whatever lure you're using, the method I would suggest from early in the day to later in the day is if you're fishing around 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, early in the morning use a top water bait because that's when they're feeding and they're going to look for stuff on the top of the water. They're going up into the water level. So you want to use something that floats around the top like a spinner bait or a worm, or just throw something out there on a bobber, or if you want to cast, use a spinner bait. It's the kind that's got a fuzzy, flurry thing on the bottom. It's got the little shining blades on top. That's a spinner bait. It's about that big. It usually runs under $5. It's a good bait for the early morning. As the day progresses around 11, 12 o'clock, you're gonna want to use something a little deeper. I'd go start trying. You gotta try wherever you're using. If it's not if you don't get any bites on it, move on to something else, maybe a different color, a little different a size difference. I would suggest something around 2, 3 inches, not really big, because you want to replicate a minnow or something that they're going for. I'm talking about in a lake. Um, you want to, something about 2 inches, something about that, maybe even that. Not very big. The smaller, the better. Sometimes it all just depends on the day. But as you're progressing to about 11 o'clock or so, even earlier, around 10 to 12, I would use a crankbait around 10 o'clock. Not a deep diving one. The bill's only about a half inch long, so it's only going to go about 3, 4 feet below the surface. I suggest you use that for a couple hours, and then around 11 o'clock to 12, I would use a deep diver. The bill's a little bit longer. It's about 1 to 2 inches. It gets it down deeper. I'm not sure exactly how much deeper, but about a foot or two, I'm guessing. But it goes deeper down, so because the fish aren't coming up that high later on in the evening, so they see it. That's their strike zone, and there you go. Again, you got to experiment with colors and sizes. Whatever they're biting on is just what they're biting on that day. It's hard to tell. Toward the evening, during noon hours, they usually don't bite. So the best thing I would suggest is to put something on a hook and sink it. Power bait or a worm, or if you're going for a catfish, put a stink bait on something down below. Toward the evening, around 2, 4, 5, they start to get active again, but not as much as in the morning. Use a deep diver. If you see them jumping, use a surface bait. If you are a fly fisher, just throw out throw out a fly out there, see what they do. Because if they're feeding on the top, they're going to be jumping at it. So put that out there. That's about all I can really suggest. Yeah. Oh yeah, the leader. Sorry, I kind of skipped over that. Trout are very leader shy. If they see a leader, they'll probably stay away from it. I was out there all day long last week. I mean, I was out there from 6 in the morning till we left around 12, and I was just doing nothing but casting, and I didn't get one bite. As I brought my lure in and I was exiting the strike zone, I got a bass about this big strike at my leader, but not my leader, my lure, my crankbait. It was a topwater one, and it was the hooks on that thing. I got so upset with it. They tangle on it. They're both waving underneath, while one of them turns and tangles on the other. And anyways, that one's out of the trash. You want to get one, and you want to look at it and make sure the hooks don't do that. They're far enough apart to where they're going to actually be missing each other, not going to snag on each other. Anyways, so I did get that bass strike at it, and I could see it right out of the strike zone, in about 3 feet of water. You can see it there, and it struck right at my crankbait and missed the hook and swam off. But anyways, back to leaders. Sorry, I went off on a tangent. You want to try to use 4-pound leader line. People do suggest you use 2. That is getting kind of small, and when you do catch a fish, you don't want to set the hook very hard. No more than 2 pounds of pressure, because that's only 2-pound line. And when you're reeling it in, you don't want to pull it in. You want to wear the fish out, tire it out, so it's not going to be pulling on your line. You want to set the tension to real loose, so it'll run with it, and then you slowly pull it in, let it run, wear the fish out. That way, when it's worn out, you can easily reel it in, and it won't be breaking your line. I would suggest trying 4. It all depends on the day. And if they're not biting and you're out there for an hour so you don't get a bite or whatever the situation is, switch to 2 pounds. See what that does. Use, I don't know, 8-pound line and then put a swivel clamp on it. The one that's got a little swivel and it's got like the clothespin clamp on the other side. Tie the line to the swivel and then make a loop on your leader line and then just hook on the leader. Anyways, yeah, so just use a lower gauge leader and you should get plenty of trout. Let me know if you do and you used 2 or 4 pound. Leave it in the comments. I'd like to know what your luck was like because I live in the desert and we only got a man-made lake, so I can't really. I've never caught anything from it. Once when I was 8. Anyway, alright, yeah, leave a comment. Thanks a lot. Thanks for watching.